All right, hey, here we go. Solving systems of equations using substitution. What's working on, Chad?
I was going to go take my toothbrush.
Go ahead and close it up. We're done. Moving on to something else. Close up the computer. All right. So here's your two steps. First step when you're solving these, you find the easiest variable to solve for in the two equations, and you get it by itself. Okay? So you look and figure out which variable is the easiest to solve for. So the one that's the most by itself already, and then you get it completely by itself. Second, you just begin substituting what you know, what you found, back in to find problems or values you haven't found yet. So we'll talk about what that means as we go through this. So in this problem, 2x plus y equals 3, and 3x minus 2y equals 8. Oh, wait. Stop. Stop means stop. Don't put it back up after I say stop. Okay. But I didn't ask what it was. I just said stop. Alright. So which variable is the most by itself? The one that's closest to being by itself. The y in that first equation is the one that's the closest to being by itself because its coefficient is a 1. All the rest of them, there's a 2, there's a 3, and there's a negative 2. So that y in the first equation is the easiest to solve for. And the reason why is I don't have to divide anything. All I have to do is subtract the 2x away from it. So, first step says find the easiest variable to solve for and get it by itself. That's the easiest variable to solve for. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to solve for the y. And all I need to do is subtract 2x from both sides. So y equals 3 minus 2x. So that is my first step. Remember when we solve by graphing, we're trying to find that point where they intersected. So this way we're trying to find a point also. We're looking for an x value and a y value. So what I'm going to do now, it says begin substituting what you know in to find the values you do not know. So here's what I know. I know that y equals 3 minus 2x. So in this other equation where y is, I'm going to substitute that value, this expression in, for the y here. So I'm going to rewrite this equation, but where the y is, I'm going to put this. So 3x minus 2 times 3 minus 2x equals 8. The only thing that I did is I rewrote this equation, but where y was, I put what y was equal to. Where y is, I put what y was equal to. Hey, y'all need to focus in this direction, not on each other. Okay. The reason why I can do this, so the reason why I want to do this, I now have an equation that only has the one variable. It has the x. Okay. If I have just one variable, I can solve and find a value to that variable. Unlike here where I actually found a value, but it was an expression, not a value. I solved for y, but it was an expression. Here I can solve for x and get an absolute value, an actual value. Okay, not an absolute value, an actual value. All right. So to solve for x, the first step is I want to distribute that negative 2. Since it's up against parentheses, that's multiplication. So I get 3x. Then you got negative 2 times 3 is a minus 6. And negative 2 times a negative 2x is a positive 4x. Then bring down the equals 8.
You have to do
Yeah, I distributed the negative 2 to the 3 and to the negative 2x. So I brought down the 3x, then negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Negative 2 times negative 2x is positive 4x. Okay, then come over here and say the next step, combine your like terms. You have a 3x plus 4x, which is 7x. So you still bring down the minus 6, you still bring down the equals 8. All I did there was added the 3x and the 4x together. Okay. Now to get the x by itself, I need to get rid of that minus 6. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides. So 7x equals 14. And then you divide both sides by 7.
That's it?
Well, I have found x. Remember when I solve the system, I need to find both x and y. So I found half of mine.
Now for that part, we got to put.
Now the second part of this is a lot shorter. Okay. Remember on my steps. Step 2 said, begin substituting what you know and define the values you do not know. So now I know that x is equal to 2. Well, I had already solved for y, but I don't have an exact value. So I'm going to substitute my value for x in for x in that equation. So I'm going to say y equals 3 minus 2 times 2, because x was equal to 2. And if I simplify that, that's 3 minus 4.
Excuse this interruption, teachers, but the rest of this period is a no-pass period. Rest of this period is a no-pass period. Please do not let any of your students leave the classroom.
Alright, so y is equal to negative 1. So my solution is always in a ordered pair, and you always put the x first, so it's 2 comma negative 1. There we go.
Which one you put first? X or Y?
Alphabetical, so x.
We can get the solve one now.
Do
You
what?
got y equals 3 minus 2 times 2. Okay, then you write down the 3 minus 4.
Because minus 2 times 2 is a minus 4.
Okay, and then subtracted that and got minus 1, so y equals negative 1.
Yes. Okay, other questions? Yeah, so here's our next problem.
That's the problem.
Yep. This is the problem. This is our system that we're solving for. Okay, so going back to step 1. Step 1 was find
Find the easiest variable to solve for.
find the easiest variable to solve for, and then get it by itself. Okay, so which variable is the easiest to solve for here?
2x.
No, the x in that second equation. Because it's already by itself, I just got to move the 3y over. I don't have to do anything dividing wise. So y'all, if there's ever a variable that's already kind of got a coefficient of 1, it's the only one that's got a number in front of it, that's the one you want to solve.
So what if it did have a number? Which one would it matter?
I would probably solve for the 2x in the top equation. And I say that because I know that there would not be any fractions. Just because I'm dividing by the 2 in that case, and 4 and 24 both divide by 2. And so, but that's the reason for that. Alright, so I'm going to solve for the x in the second equation. So to do that, all I have to do is subtract 3y from both sides. So I'm left with x equals 7 minus 3y.
figured out our X, and now we need to. What we get for 7 minus 3?
7 minus 3y.
We can put that in place of the next problem for the X.
Well, we're gonna put that into the place of that first equation.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, what are you doing? You don't have a computer? It's all gonna be on there before you get out of class today.
He said he don't feel like running.
Okay. Alright, so now I'm gonna take the 7 minus 3y, and since that equals x, in that first equation, I'm gonna replace the x with the 7 minus 3y. So it'll be 2 times 7 minus 3y minus 4y equals 24. Hey y'all, all of those side talks just stop.
You just got pencil. It'd be 14.
Alright. Right. So when I replace the x with the 7 minus 3y, I get what's in red there. So the next step is to distribute the 2. So 2 times 7, or 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times a minus 3y is a minus 6y. Minus 4y equals 24.
Now we gotta combine like
Okay. So combine like terms, that's the negative 6y minus 4y, which is negative 10y. Let's break down the equals 24. I had a few people earlier that were kind of confused on the negative 6y minus 4y being negative 10y. You know, if you're still struggling with that, then just in your calculator put negative 6 minus 4 and see what your answer is. And then leave the y with it in your answer. Alright. Next step, get y by itself.
take both 14 from both sides.
Subtract the 14 from both sides. So that cancels it out here. I'm left with negative 10y equals 10. Okay. And then the last step is to divide both sides by the negative 10.
That'd be 1, a negative 1.
Negative 1. So y equals negative 1.
Now for the y equals negative 1. No problem with it. But it's 2x minus 4. You can put the negative 1 in place of y, right?
I mean, that would work. But this one here, it would work, but I don't think that's the most effective one. I think this equation here that we came up with,
Ah, yeah, put it on.
that's where you're going to want to put it.
I'm keeping it right there.
So you're going to want to take that y equals negative 1 and plug it into the y right here.
Is that an always type of thing, or we always have to put it there?
Now that's usually the best place because the other variables are already solved for there. And so it makes it, that's the easiest place to put it. Okay, so you have x equals 7 minus 3 times negative 1, which is equal to 7,
Plus 3.
7 plus 3, which is equal to 10. So my solution is 10, negative 1.
We're gonna have a test on this soon.
Then it won't be till next week, but yeah. We'll do this one and, the process of elimination, and then we'll do the quiz. All right. Questions on that one before we move on to the next one? Okay. So I want everybody else, not everybody else, I want you to try and do this one.
How much time is it?
Let's do 2 minutes, and then from there, I'm gonna ask questions. See if you got to a starting spot, figured out what to start. It may not be 2 minutes, and then we'll let you work a little bit more without me to finish it up. Okay, so I want everybody working on this one.
Can I get a calculator?
Yeah, you may. I'm not positive you have to have one, but you can definitely use it. They're up here on the floor. Oh. Jonathan. Everybody look at the problem there.
Hey, both one problem.
You said what's that?
I do not know that I've got one. I do not have it.
I don't got any.
Alright. So y'all, what's the issue with this one that isn't like the others?
Wow.
What's the easiest variable to solve for?
Or why?
No. Y is already solved for in both equations, so it is definitely the easiest one to solve for. Y right here is the easiest one to solve for, or Y right here, it doesn't matter.
So that means we have two more.
Okay? So, all you're going to do at this point is you're going to take what Y is equal to and substitute it back into the other equation. So where this Y is, I'm going to replace with a 2x minus 4.
My paper.
Okay, equals x plus 3.
So what about the exclusion?
Now, you could have taken the x plus 3 and replaced the y in the second equation. Either way, it would have been just the exact same. You would have just flipped these two, and this x plus 3 would be over here. Okay? So there's no distributing to do, but you do have to get the x's on the same side. So to do that,
First, let's look.
so x equals 7.
Yeah, we take, I'm confused on
Okay.
this. We take the 8 to 7 and put it in the next column.
One of these two up here. It doesn't matter which one. The first one's easier. Okay. So once you found the x equals 7, I'm going to take that value for x, and I'm going to plug it in for x in that first equation. Okay, so y equals 7 plus 3. So y equals 10. Now, it'll work in the second one, because 2 times 7 is 14, minus 4 is also 10. So it doesn't matter which equation you plug it into, the first one's just easier. So my solution there is 7, 10.
Okay. So what's what? How did you do what?
I plugged this 7
Uh,
in for this x. All right. We'll go to in just a second. So, y'all, what you have to do, there are some problems that you need to have done by Thursday, which means you will get some time tomorrow. We're going to go over a couple more problems in class tomorrow. But you'll have some time tomorrow also. But your assignment is on the agenda on Echo. So those of you that do not have Echo, for whatever reason you have chosen not to, you will need to figure out a way to get these problems. It's 25 through 39. There's 15 problems. You have a couple days to do these. So if you have no access to a computer, then your smart thing to do is to figure out a way to copy these down or take a picture of them. Now, you have these 15 problems to do before Thursday. So do before the bell ring starts on Thursday. You got today and tomorrow.
Them 15 problems?
Yes. 25 through 39. If you do not have a computer, I would try to take a picture of them.
there ain't no trick ones in here, is there? Like that.
Oh, hey, if you look at like number 33, instead of X and Y, they use A and B. So when you write your answer, always put your answer in alphabetical order. So it'll be A, comma, B. There's a R, comma, T, an S, comma, T, P and Q, because P, you do your alphabet. They have to talk your way all the way through the alphabet, but put your answers in alphabetical order. Okay, so you have about 13 minutes today to start working on these. Okay. You are not allowed to be doing anything else, which means you should be working on these problems. Okay, wasting time by sitting there doing nothing is not okay. I do not have any paper.
You throw this paper away.
I'm not arguing with you on that, but I don't have any paper.